Joining me now is Annie Cyrus and Hadia Miramati. Guys, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
All right, let's start out with the terrorist attack in Australia. Of course, Logan's got a bunch of B-roll footage we can bring. Horrific. Dealt with it today at 1 o'clock with Aaron, our reporter on the ground in Israel. He has family members that live in Australia. The two guys, Pakistani is what we're hearing now. The son apparently had been on their radar. Australia has opened up their borders, bringing all these Islamists. Here's what you get. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Then the police response, 15, 20 minutes without even responding. Takes a private citizen who gets shot twice to do the job of the cops, because we're in an era where we have, we don't have qualified cops. We're largely pushing aside the good guys and ridiculing them and calling them racist and all kinds of things if they're good cops, so we can hire a bunch of community organizers. Same problems in Australia as we have here in America. The whole thing is just disgusting. There was a police station reportedly within eyesight of this incident. How we have a Hanukkah by the sea event where you have a couple structures that give the high ground, how this was allowed to happen, or they don't have their own private security or more government security. It just seemed like the whole thing at many levels is troubling. Now, I'm not blaming anything on the Jews, but I am certainly concerned that there wasn't thought by somebody that this is not a good location. There's just too much high ground. But this guy, the son, he's rattling off his shots so fast. He clearly had training somewhere. Now we're hearing reports, whether they're true or not, I don't know, but I'm reading reports that the two had just been over in the Philippines. So were they over there getting training or what? I don't know. What's the latest you know? Let's go with you first, Annie. What are you hearing?
I want to emphasize on something. This was not the first time we faced a father-son, Pakistani father-son duet of attack. If you remember, Brandon, I came on your show because nobody else was covering it. In Utah, days after Charlie Kirk was murdered, there was a bomb that malfunctioned and didn't go poof. And behind that bombing in Utah were the father and son from Pakistan. I think that's important to mention. Why is it important to mention? A lot of people keep saying, close the border, don't let people in. A lot of these sons are the first generation. Their parents came from Pakistan and Syria and Afghanistan and Iran. They were born here, like the Utah attack, that we were blessed that Lord didn't let that bomb go off. But with the son and father in Australia, you look, the whole scene just seems so bizarre. The police is there, but they might have as well not be there. The people, again, not blaming, but do they never train their mindset that this kind of thing is happening every day? Do they not understand we're getting closer to Hanukkah, we're getting closer to Christmas? They step up. They're always a step up their game when it comes to our holidays. That's just given. How could even the man, and I have to be very careful here because I received some backlash saying this. I am not saying this because the bystander hero was a Muslim from Syria. No, I'm not saying that he should have done better. I'm saying that, okay, you had the bravery to grab the rifle from the father. Why did you put the rifle by the tree and put your arm up? What was that about? That was just about 20-25 seconds for the father to make his way up to the bridge next to the son, grab the other rifle and start shooting again. Why did you put yourself in danger? That all comes back from mindset. Oh, I got the gun, I don't need to do anything. No, you got the gun, you aim at the person and you shoot him. I'm not saying kill him, kneecap him, something.
Do we know if that guy is Muslim? Because we're getting reports that
yes, he is.
Yeah.
He's a Muslim from Syria.
Wait. What did you just, Maronite? What is that?
I heard he was a Lebanese Maronite and owned a store, but that's not correct?
No, that's what Aaron...
No, he is from Syria. He's from Syria. The mother and father both did the interview from the hospital bed. They are very proud, and they literally said, we are proud of him. So is our entire village in Syria.
Okay, so he was a Muslim, but he obviously wasn't a practicing Islam, right? Would he have been considered a hypocrite, Annie?
He would definitely, as it is, and that's the thing. Again, did he put down the rifle and not shoot the attacker for not putting more heat on himself for being a Muslim who killed a Muslim? Because that's unforgivable. Absolutely. If you're a Muslim and kill a Muslim who's killing Kafirs, you have to pay with your blood. It's my guess. I'm not saying that's why he didn't.
But are you thinking that he was like Shahram Hadian's dad, a beer-drinking, pork-eating Muslim, meaning he wasn't an Islamist? Is this guy likely just, hey, you know, he was born into the Muslim family, but he's not a practicing Muslim?
He might be. He's not activated. He doesn't practice jihad yet.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Hadia?
Yeah, whatever terminology you want to use, whether he's normatively, culturally Muslim, but not a jihadist, not an Islamist. This is actually, I saw conflicting reports. I heard he was Maronite, but I didn't know that his family had been interviewed. But another caveat I wanted to add is that, you know, because of all the backlash for people who do take actions into their own hand, like remember our own subway incident where the gentleman intervened and then he got prosecuted. There could be this fear that he was going to get retaliated against if he took any action other than disarm him. But I also want to say that we have to look at, and I presume we're going to look at all these events in totality. We've talked about this rush of, you know, soft target attacks, and we keep talking about them in isolated examples per country. And I think we really should be looking at this as a global intifada, a global attack against the West. And as these incidences pop off every day, we have to realize we are in a war of sorts. And when are people going to start to prepare, as Annie was mentioning, preparing and having the mindset and situational awareness to realize that that's the state that we're in, tragically and horribly. But citizens need to start taking responsibility for their safety, because law enforcement, I mean, I have a 10-minute video where I hear sirens in the background and there's no response and no police presence.
Well, here's a clip by one guy about that very fact. Here we go.
Simple as that. 20 minutes was 4 policemen there. Nobody give fire back. Nothing.
20 minutes, no fire back, nothing.
They are froze. Like for, it looked like 20 minutes. Like, and they shoot. The guy change magazine. I look at him all the time. I was with 2 of my babies under me, and I look at that, and it's just rifle and a pistol, and just shoot. And the other one was under. They start to come close to the audience. I think one of the people took his rifle and shoot him. That's one of them. That's what I saw.
So, you know, basically, look, he's reloading. Why not take advantage of the fact he's reloading? But no, they didn't.
And the excuse is going to be casualties, too many people, the crowd was moving, we didn't want to shoot innocent people. That's going to be the excuse behind it.
Well, when it comes to casualties, here we go. Here are the cops wasting their time on this piece of trash.
Rescue him.
You know, why are we wasting our time trying to save this piece of trash? Those cops should be out there helping the victims, not this piece of garbage. Does anyone disagree with that?
No.
I do not, but I know what's going to be the excuse behind that too. They wanted to capture one of them at least alive to get information to see what was their motive.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Because we don't know the motive, right?
Because we don't know exactly right. We don't know the motive. And they weren't apparently too concerned about it. The son had already been investigated and cleared, according to some reports we're reading. So isn't it interesting?
Well, he wasn't cleared. He wasn't cleared, but he wasn't pushed on the list of monitoring. But the father was clear enough to actually have license for his firearm. All the firearms that were used that day were licensed. The father had the license to own every single one of them. How does that happen?
And they have stricter gun rules than we do. They actually have to list a purpose behind why they need the firearm to get them. Mm-hmm. And he had all of those permits.
All right. So
sorry,
so you think this is a bigger, is this just, you know, I don't believe in lone wolves anyway, but do you think this is a pattern we're going to start seeing more and more? What was that face for? Why are you making that face, Annie?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did my face speak louder than my mouth again?
Yeah.
I mean, there is absolutely zero lone wolf scenario
Yeah, I don't
when
believe
it comes
in
to
lone wolves.
jihad.
I don't believe in lone wolves. And so what I'm asking is this a global pattern? Has someone said something in the press or on social media that was the trigger, that was the go statement? Is there
December
anything?
1998, Osama bin Laden. December 1998, Osama bin Laden issued a fatwa to kill the Kafirs during their sacred holiday. Is that enough for
Yeah.
the reason every Hanukkah and Christmas we get bloodshed?
And now we're reading that maybe in LA, where you're near, I think, Hadia, they foiled a terrorist attack out there from multiple locations for New Year's Eve, right?
Yes. And so the larger point that I'm hoping to make from each of these terrorist attacks, if we include Brown, Australia, the foiled one in LA, and even Syria less so, that's a little more isolated, is that, again, I go back to this statement about NVEs. These are nihilistic violent extremism, as the FBI is describing. They are a merger of the left and the Islamists. And you see all over X, people are like, he wasn't a Muslim, he's a leftist, he's a white guy. We have to stop with the boxes because the boxes don't matter. These groups have merged. And so the group that they're holding publicly accountable for the LA terror attacks is the Turtle Liberation Front, the Turtle Island Liberation Front. And it's a fascinating group because they talk about the Christian Judeo heritage of the United States being a colonizing influence that they want to rid the Turtle Island of, but basically have taken on the language of the Palestinian movement, of the Islamist movement in the Middle East, merging these ideas with this globalized the Intifada, but not just for Palestine. They're saying all the countries that have been supposedly colonized by the Judeo-Christian tradition. So they say it very publicly that who they consider to be the world's colonizers are the Judeo-Christian religions.
Okay, so where do you think we're headed with this on say America? What first of all, what can you tell us about the LA cases, Hadia, where you live?
Well, like I'm saying, is that these guys, they're going to put them in this far left box and say these are just leftist radicals, but they're not. If you look at and I send you a picture of the girl with the T-shirt on because they start off as this indigenous movement claiming to be Indians. So look at the T-shirt. So look at the woman, and you wouldn't consider her a Muslim. She doesn't have to be a Muslim, but the T-shirt says solidarity from Turtle Island to Palestine. And so this movement has very clear, I looked up a bunch of their social media posts. They're part of this electronic intifada where they're basically merging these two networks together. And what happens is a lot of the jihadi groups are infiltrating these anarchist, far leftist groups and inserting this language, participating in joint rallies, participating in social media posts, showing up at their teach-ins to merge these two forces. So we have the soft side that we've already seen on campuses where they're merging these ideas. Now we're seeing it in the violent space. And I think that's what we're going to continue to see. I still, despite everything that's out there, believe that's what Tyler Robinson was a part of, Charlie Kirk's killer. And I think we're just going to see a lot more of this. And it's going to deceive the public because everybody's looking at, oh, wait, no, this is white, this guy's far left, this guy's Muslim, and it's one group. We're going to continue to see that.
Let's get to Syria. What do you tell our audience about? We have contractors, National Guard, I think out of Iowa, murdered in Syria. Annie?
Yes, we had 2 army soldiers killed, 1 American translator killed, and 3 army soldiers wounded. This was supposedly a coordination to take out few ISIS members in Syria. The information and intel came from Syrian military. I need to be very specific here for your audience. When they say Syrian military, I need you to understand, these are al-Shara's jihadist soldiers that we just removed from terrorist list. This isn't some country's military. Just, that's important. However, unfortunately, that intel turned into more of a trap where our soldiers, 2 of them were killed, a translator were killed, and 3 of them were wounded because we have Syria under control. And for some reason, the ISIS that many, including right-wing anti-Sharia movement leaders, talked about, ISIS is done. We got rid of ISIS. This narrative has started in 2019, and then 2020, they're like, ISIS is done. Somehow ISIS is back. It's in Syria, and I don't know why we see the need, or Pete Hegseth sees the need to send our soldiers to die for Syria.
And Hadia?
So what is going to continue to be a problem, very different than what we were talking about with this Syrian young man being the hero in Australia, is 2 different kinds of Muslims. In the Syrian case, between ISIS and Shara's forces, they are the same kind of Muslim. So they're both jihadists. They both believe in very strict interpretations of Sharia. They both want to advance the Islamic cause. So how is Shara going to govern when everybody on his force has a brother, cousin, nephew that is uncontrollable in his pursuit of jihad? The country is filled with lawlessness, and I don't understand how he's going to, at least for the America's purposes, make a distinction between these guys. And he's going to hopefully progressively look like he can't control his population, and that hopefully we will look for another leader, because he's claimed he has the street cred to manage the radicals, but he won't. He won't be able to manage them because they have a jihadist mindset, and there's only so many people he's going to be able to bribe to listen to him.
Can I be respectfully brutal here for a minute?
Sure.
Why is it our business to find a different leader? Why is Syria our business? Yeah. When are we going to give up? It is none of our business. Our soldiers, they fight, they make the ultimate sacrifice for freedoms and borders of America. I am tired. From Iraq to Afghanistan to Libya to Syria, they can have listen, Hamas was picked by people of Palestine. It is none of our business what happens to Palestinians if they exist, because they don't. Same thing applies to Syria. Even if Iran's going to take over Syria, again, we should have never saved the mullah's life. But okay, fine. I don't think we should even entertain that al-Shara is going to fail, then we're going to find a different leaders who's going to figure it out. No, we need to step aside, back away, let them figure it out. How many more of our soldiers are going to pay with their blood fighting somebody else's fight?
I definitely appreciate that sentiment, but that's just not the way our diplomacy apparatus works. We
should make it work that way.
We stick our fingers everywhere. I mean, I totally agree with you. We shouldn't have had soldiers on the ground, but I think they had this false level of security that Shara is our guy. He's going to protect us. So they know better now. But but
who gave them that false sense of security? I believe that
Shara
would be Pete Hegseth.
Oh
no,
yeah.
Pete Hegseth bought into that. If we say he didn't know and he believed al-Shara, which I don't believe that, but okay. Trump told him to believe him, so somebody needs to be held accountable. That's the bare minimum. Pete Hegseth sent our soldiers there on their false sense of security. Now, right. 2 of them are dead, 3 of them are wounded. So he needs to be held accountable, and now we know, let's withdraw our troops.
I get the sentiment, but I find it unlikely to believe the U.S. will entirely step out of the Middle East. I mean, it's too valuable to the United States to have stability in the Middle East to do nothing. So it is likely that we will continue to interfere. I wish we would get it right and interfere in the right way, but we historically don't. And there are factions in our government or people on the outside, you know, the isolationists who prefer we do nothing anywhere. I just don't think that that's really plausible.
Well, I wouldn't think that what I'm saying is sentiment. I would say, considering as of right now, we the people still hold the power over our government, if it would get off our couches and our kumbaya parties and our false hope, we can absolutely change the diplomacy they're using. Diplomacy is not part of our constitution. It is not a written law. It can be changed at any given moment. So I think what I'm proposing is a solution, but majority of Americans refuse to see it as a solution because they are used to the broken system. We just mourn the loss of our young generation, move on to the next time that our government gets our soldiers killed.
Let's switch gears real quick before we have to let Hadia go. I think you're on a time schedule crunch tonight. How about Brown University? I guess the FBI has now released a new picture tonight. Brown University shooter. I guess he got off about 40 rounds into a classroom where the kids were studying for a pre-exam. 2 killed. I think one is a Republican leader, student leader, 19, I think. We're told that the individual shouted something, but they're not telling us what. Was it Free Palestine? Was it Allah Akbar? Was it Merry Christmas? Happy Hanukkah? What'd they shout? Anybody want to guess?
Well, Laura Loomer put out that she has reports that it was Allahu Akbar.
Of course it was.
So,
what else would it be?
Yeah. Well, it's curious to me because is this guy, again, one of these radical leftists? Is he going to shout Palestine? Is he going to shout colonization? Is he going to shout the Jews? Like, who knows? Because these guys don't have a common MO anymore. They're this amalgamation of anarchists. And so it's entirely unclear, again, my reference to why we shouldn't have boxes. We maybe just one giant box of these crazies and how we're going to handle it.
Well, now they're, I guess, announcing some money for finding this guy. Let's see here.
Now we'll hear from Colonel Oscar Perez.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all for being here again. Here we are once again to provide you some of the highlights and the progress that the Providence Police Department, along with several agencies, have gotten together and stepped up to come up to this. I want to remind you that this is a very active investigation, very complex investigation, and it's the dedicated work of the men and women of the Providence Police Department, the Detective Division, the Community Response Team, the Special Response Team. It's all hands on deck. And on top of it all, you have the state police who's assisting us and every other federal partner that has been in this building for several hours. And I want to commend and applaud them for the work that they have done. And that includes the FBI, HSI, ATF, the IRS, the marshals, and several other agencies, analysts that are here. So it's pretty active because we want to make sure, as the governor stated, as the mayor stated, to make sure that we identify this individual and bring him to justice.
All right. And I guess they're offering $500,000 leading to the individual's arrest. Any comments on this? We'll let you guys go.
I will repeat what I've been repeating for a while. Train yourself through your mind, your body.
Yeah, sure.
Don't think it happened somewhere else. It will never happen to you. With the speed we're going, it's going to happen to every single neighborhood, either a mall, university, school, church, synagogue, you name it. You have to genuinely be prepared. And as my pastor said last Sunday at church, remember, we do have the armor of the God. But if you're not putting it on, there is no use for it.
It's a good comment. Hadia?
Thank you.
Absolutely agree. We have to have situational awareness. Everybody has to realize the threat that we're under, including students. We should go back to the whole issue of this no gun zones, and whether campuses are gun-free campuses is basically creating yourself as a target. And so we should be having armed officers on our college campuses. There should be more security on the doors. Apparently this place that they were able to enter did not have security. That's what some of the reports say. and better equip the students with run, hide, fight, whatever strategy they're supposed to use in order to protect themselves, because this is a 21st century reality. Everybody needs to be prepared.
It's $50,000
Yes.
reward. I misspoke, not 500,000, 50,000. Resurrectministry.com, resurrectministry.com, and Annie is liveuptofreedom.com, liveuptofreedom.com, and lutfstudio.com to get that last minute Christmas gift, personally and handmade by Annie. She's wearing a new one tonight, the red one. You made that, right, Annie?
Yes, I
Yes.
did.
Hey, there you go. All right, guys, as always, thank you. And unfortunately, I guess we'll be seeing you guys again soon to report on another terrorist attack, because that seems to be the trend now. And going into the end of the year, I think we're going to see more of these before the year is over.
Do we have about 35 seconds
Yeah.
for me to just add something? I
Yeah.
just want to thank you for the plug, but I want to say something. As I decided until we close the year, most of the week I'm going to write on my Substack about history. And today, on December 15th, 1791, our first 10 amendments became the law. The Bill of Rights became the law. And I just want to remind my fellow Americans, though it's a tragic day, we feel like we can't even feel anymore after the last 3 days. Remember, those rights there for a reason. I broke it down on my Substack, but most of you know why they're there. They weren't just placed there by our founding fathers so we could live a free life. They were also assigned to every single one of us from there on to be protected. The only way to protect our rights is to constantly and every day practice our rights.
Agreed.
Just wanted to put this out there.
Agreed. Liveuptofreedom.com, liveuptofreedom.substack.com, and resurrectministry.com. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
you,
you.
Brennan.
Thank
Be
you.
safe.
Merry Christmas. We'll be talking to you, I'm sure,
Merry
before
Christmas.
then, but Merry Christmas. All right, guys, we'll be right back after this short break.
Introducing the Sentry Wellness System, the ultimate undersink water treatment solution designed with you in mind. Say goodbye to harmful toxins and hello to water enriched with essential nutrients like calcium and magnesium. Enjoy the benefits of increased pH for on-demand alkalinity, all from a zero-waste system that fits seamlessly into your home. Installation is a breeze, taking just 15 minutes, so you can have clean, healthy, great-tasting water straight from your tap. Perfect for apartments, homes, rentals, and even RVs. Elevate your hydration and well-being with the Sentry Wellness System, because you deserve the best in every drop.
Sentry H2O. Tap into wellness.